In the quiet suburb of Overland Park, Kansas, where manicured lawns stretched like green carpets under the afternoon sun, Colleen Brixley stood at her bay window, her fingers gripping the curtain with a tension that mirrored the knot in her stomach. The cul-de-sac outside was a picture of suburban serenity, children's bikes leaning against garages, a distant lawnmower humming like a contented bee, and the faint scent of blooming flowers drifting through the air. But to Colleen, the HOA president who prided herself on maintaining order in this neatly ordered world, something felt profoundly wrong. She had spotted him moments ago, a man striding across the street with purposeful steps. His sweatshirt hung loosely over his frame, a cap pulled low over his eyes, and there, visible against his hip, was the unmistakable outline of a firearm in its holster. Her heart raced, pounding against her ribs as if trying to escape. Who was he? Why was he armed in broad daylight? This wasn't the kind of neighborhood where people paraded weapons. It was a place of rules, of safety enforced by covenants and community vigilance. Colleen's mind raced through scenarios: burglary, confrontation, danger lurking in the shadows of their peaceful enclave. Without hesitation, she snatched her phone from the side table, her knuckles whitening as she dialed 911. The operator's voice was calm, professional, a stark contrast to the tremor in Colleen's words. 911, what's your emergency? The dispatcher asked. There's a man out there, Colleen blurted, her voice sharp and laced with urgency. He's carrying a gun. He looks dangerous. She pressed her forehead against the cool glass, narrowing her eyes to get a better look. The man, black, medium build, around 6 feet tall, was heading toward a sleek black sedan parked in a driveway across the street. He moved with a relaxed gait, but to Colleen, every step seemed laden with threat. I don't recognize him. He doesn't belong here. From his perspective, Reginald Holt was simply wrapping up a long shift. As a detective with the local precinct, his days were filled with paperwork, briefings, and the weight of oaths sworn to protect the community. Today had been no different. Hours spent poring over case files, coordinating with his unit on a narcotics investigation that had dragged on for weeks. Now, all he wanted was to get home, hug his wife Danielle and their 2 daughters, Alyssa and Janelle, and fire up the grill for some chicken. The gun at his hip was standard issue, a tool of his trade, holstered securely as per regulations. He had no inkling that his mere presence was being interpreted as a menace. Can you describe the man further? The dispatcher prompted, her tone steady as she typed notes. Black male, medium build, 6 feet tall. Colleen repeated, her breath fogging the window. Weapon strapped to his hip, plain as day. Her words carried the weight of unspoken assumptions, echoes of fears she couldn't quite articulate but felt deeply. In her role as HOA president, she saw herself as the guardian of this cul-de-sac, the one who enforced bylaws on everything from fence heights to holiday decorations. Calling the authorities felt like fulfilling her duty, a proactive step to avert potential disaster. Officers are on the way, the dispatcher assured her. Colleen exhaled, a mix of relief and vindication washing over her. She had acted responsibly, she told herself, better safe than sorry, but as she hung up, a nagging doubt flickered. What if she was misreading the situation? She pushed it aside, focusing instead on the validation of her quick thinking. Minutes ticked by, each one stretching like elastic. Reginald reached his car, unlocking it with a beep that echoed softly in the quiet street. He paused to adjust his cap, glancing around at the familiar houses, the one with the red door where the Jensens lived, the porch swing at the Drummonds. This was home, a sanctuary after the chaos of his job. But then, the distant wail of sirens pierced the air, growing louder, closer. 2 police cruisers rounded the corner, lights flashing red and blue, casting erratic shadows on the brick facades and trimmed hedges. Neighbors emerged tentatively, some from porches, others peeking through windows, phones in hand. The cul-de-sac, once a haven of predictability, now buzzed with unspoken questions. Reginald froze, his hand instinctively moving away from his side. He knew this drill all too well. He'd been on the other side of it countless times, but being the target, that was a gut punch. Officer Glenn Navarro stepped out first, his hand hovering near his belt, eyes scanning Reginald with trained caution. His partner, Officer Luke Fenner, followed suit, the pair approaching with measured steps. "Sir, can you?" Navarro began, but recognition dawned like a light switch. "Reggie, Holt." Reginald raised his brows, a half-smile breaking through the tension. "Evening, fellas." Slowly, deliberately, he reached into his jacket and pulled out his badge, holding it up for inspection. The officers straightened, their postures shifting from alert to respectful. Navarro let out a short laugh, motioning to Fenner to stand down. "Dispatch," said armed male. Fenner muttered, glancing at the holster, "And they weren't wrong." Reginald replied calmly, "Plainclothes division, you know how it is." Navarro nodded, offering a quick salute, a gesture of brotherhood that caught the watching eyes off guard. The neighbors, clustered now on porches, whispered among themselves. "He lives here," one said. "Wait, he's a detective." From her window, Colleen watched the scene unfold, her confusion mounting. The salute, the camaraderie, it didn't fit her narrative. Her husband, Douglas, entered the room, adjusting his glasses. "What's going on?" he asked. Colleen pointed, her voice defensive. "I called the police. That man had a gun." Douglas squinted. "That's Holt. Moved in 6 months ago. Law enforcement. We met him at the barbecue." Colleen's face burned with embarrassment, but she clung to her justification. Outside, Reginald shook Navarro's hand. "Appreciate the response, but understand, that call could have gone differently for me." Navarro nodded somberly. "We'll flag your address." As the cruisers pulled away, the lights fading, Reginald felt the weight of stares. He turned toward his house, but paused, locking eyes with Colleen through the glass. She flinched, drawing the curtain closed. The cul-de-sac didn't relax. Whispers multiplied. Helen drummed on her porch, muttering to Paul Richter. Colleen stirred up trouble. Paul frowned. She thought it was a threat. Helen shot back. She saw her neighbor and called anyway. Reginald lingered, his wife Danielle stepping out to join him. "Come inside," she urged, but he felt the need to stand firm, to not retreat under the scrutiny. Colleen emerged onto her porch, Douglas trailing. "Detective Holt," she called awkwardly. Reginald turned, unreadable. "I wasn't trying to cause trouble. I thought you were dangerous." His voice was steady. "In my own neighborhood." The exchange escalated, Danielle interjecting sharply. "You did what you would have done. No one else called." Colleen defended. "I acted out of caution." Reginald's words cut deep. "I've faced real danger, but tonight I was at risk in my own home because of you." The confrontation hung in the air, neighbors watching silently. Colleen retreated inside, the sting of truth echoing. Inside the Holt home, Reginald hugged his daughters, who asked innocently, "Did you do something wrong?" He explained gently, the lesson heavy for their young minds. Dinner sat untouched as the family clung together, Reginald replaying the events, the assumptions that nearly unraveled everything. Across the street, Colleen scrolled the HOA message board, threads exploding with debates. "She was protecting us," some said, "reckless," others countered. Douglas warned, "You're digging deeper." but she typed defensively, unwilling to yield. The afternoon wore on, the sun dipping lower, casting long shadows. Reginald walked to his mailbox, encountering Carla Jensen. "I'm sorry," she said. "We knew it was you." He nodded, the apology bittersweet. Back home, Danielle urged him to speak up. The neighborhood buzzed, sides forming, the incident exposing fractures in the facade of community harmony. As the sun continued its descent, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, the cul-de-sac simmered with unspoken tensions. Reginald sat in his living room, badge on the coffee table like a silent accusation. The girls whispered from the staircase, their innocence clashing with the adult weight in the air. Danielle tried to coax him to eat, but his mind was elsewhere, replaying the sirens, the hovering hands, the salute that felt like theater. Neighbors congregated subtly, Helen and Paul debating on the sidewalk. "It's honest," Helen said. "People are saying what they've whispered." Paul worried, "It's tearing us apart." Online, the HOA board ignited. Posts defending Colleen, others furious. Assumptions. One read. Reginald scrolled, Danielle reading over his shoulder. "This isn't about me," he said. "It's what they feel about her." Colleen, at her table, typed furiously. "If he wasn't law enforcement, you'd thank me." Douglas sighed. "You're proving you care more about being right." The digital noise spilled into reality, arguments on lawns, notes slipped under doors. Reginald couldn't ignore it, the eyes followed him. By late afternoon, fate accelerated. Colleen approached Reginald at the bus stop, post, bus departure. "I wanted to address this," she said shakily. He folded his arms. "You didn't know who I was." "I meet many people," she faltered. "Danielle from the porch, that's a lie." The volley intensified, Reginald's voice firm. "Do you know what it feels like? Treated like a stranger because of fear." Colleen stiffened. "I won't apologize for caution." Danielle demanded. "Protect from what? Families like ours?" The exchange drew watchers, curtains twitching, Paul sweeping pretextually. Colleen retreated, the words lingering. Dinner at the Holtz was subdued, Reginald reflecting. "The meeting will be ugly." Danielle, walk in with truth. The community center filled quickly, chairs packed. Colleen gavelled order, discuss safety, perception. "Helen, you called on Holt." Reginald stood. "You saw me and assumed." Danielle could have gotten him killed. Paul exposed fear. Colleen defended, "Not a villain." Danielle muttered, "Maybe not in charge." Brian interjected for policies. Reginald, "Policies won't fix bias." Douglas, "Time to listen." Colleen adjourned abruptly, but whispers persisted. The room buzzed, neighbors debating. As evening deepened, the story leaked. A recording hitting local news. Headlines flashed, detective confronted by HOA. Social media erupted, Reginald trending. At the precinct, colleagues joked, captain warned, media won't let go. Reginald declined interviews. Colleen faced backlash. HOA Karen. Douglas, intent doesn't erase impact. Guilt crept in. Neighbors gathered. Helen, actions have consequences. Paul, battlefield, not community. Reginald agreed to speak publicly. Steps clustered with mics. They saw danger, not a neighbor. Voice cracking. My daughters asked if I did wrong. Reporter, bias, fear unchecked destroys. Clip aired, striking chords. Helen visited, proud. Reginald to daughters, worth it if one thinks twice. Teacher's message, purpose found. Friday evening, Colleen at door, apologized truly. I saw a story, not you. Reginald, think twice next time. Relief, though skeptical. HOA initiative posted. Connections, understanding. Carla, made a difference. On porch, Reginald, keep showing up. Weight lighter, community confronting, safety needs trust, assumptions wound, 1 second to judge or paused, choose wisely. The day ended with tentative healing, the cul-de-sac quieter, lessons etched in shared glances.
If you liked this story, please like, subscribe, and share it with others so they can learn something from it too.